World Heavyweight Champion Shawn Michaels, Rob Van Dam.
5 years since Shawn Michaels wrestled live on Raw. HBK, RVD, will get it on.
WWE Raw, tomorrow at 9, 8 Central, only on the new TNN.
With Raw after a week of constant commercials on TNN set to be headlined by the first ever Michaels vs. Van Dam singles match in Shawn Michaels' first TV match in 5 years. While the main event was set up a week in advance, the rest of the broadcast due to unusual circumstances was finalized just before the show went on the air, with the Raw crew after an overseas tour in India in reported rough conditions returning to the States, with over 10 wrestlers who were scheduled to be part of the show tonight either working sick or entirely unable to perform, forcing late changes to the Raw script, with the most talked about situation being Booker T, who was scheduled to play a major role in a show-long angle against Jericho and Christian in multiple segments throughout, being rushed to the hospital shortly before 9 p.m. to cause the originally planned Booker and Goldust vs. Jericho and Christian tag titles match to be changed almost at showtime, with the Dudleys taking their place both in the angle and in the opening match, seeing the Jericho and Christian vs. Dudleys tag titles match going over 15 minutes with 2 false finishes over almost the entire first half hour of the show to bump it to a first hour high 3.5 rating with over 4.7 million viewers for the conclusion of the match, with Jericho and Christian retaining the titles, starting the angle for the next hour following them celebrating backstage in the building. With the Raw India tour continuing the company's recent strategy of doing more international tours to offset the domestic business drop, with another strong string of shows in India highlighted by one of the biggest non-televised gates in company history Thursday in New Delhi, with over 18,000 people in attendance for a show headlined by the planned draw match of Jericho and Christian vs. Booker and Goldust, along with Kane vs. Test as the top 2 matches of the night, packing the shows with over 30,000 people, with Triple H, who was advertised to headline the tour in 3 main events, instead only cutting babyface promos in a neck brace putting over the Indian crowd, followed by angles of him and Flair laying out Regal and Storm, with him still not cleared to return to the ring after the Van Dam chamber neck injury. As the tire draw crew returned to the country with 3 different flights, each taking multiple hours right back to preparations for the live broadcast on the night, a major headline on Monday morning with potential major repercussions for the near future of the brand going forward saw Steve Austin officially pleading no contest in court to close the Debra charges from June, with Austin given 1-year probation to put the legal issue behind him, telling the media outside the court that it's been a chaotic few months and he's glad to put it in the past, saying that regardless of his public persona nobody is perfect and we all have good and bad days, while for the first time publicly opening the door for a return to the ring, saying that he's open to talk about it, with him training every day to be in good shape for the possible comeback, with Austin, who behind the scenes already started to set up his return to the company after a meeting with Vince McMahon in Houston on September 30th, with him calculated in the plans for the top matches at WrestleMania 19, making his first public appearance days earlier in an autograph signing Thursday in Richmond, Virginia, drawing a huge crowd of over 4,000 people for his first public appearance in months, saying that it was then when he saw the massive crowd he knew that he still had drawing power left as a major difference maker to officially start the build to his return off screen. As with the court case now closed, along with public comments from company officials in the past several days, including Linda McMahon and JR, all but confirming that Austin wrestling again and WWE is only a matter of when, with Raw after a first hour dropping from the 3-month high of last Monday back into the recent average with 4.6 million viewers, crossing over 10 p.m. with a Trish vs. Victoria title match going 8 minutes and the longest women's match in Raw history, ending up with Victoria going over to retain, followed by the first Michaels-Van Dam interaction on the night to build up the main event, seeing Michaels finding him backstage saying that Van Dam reminds him of a young version of himself before upping the intensity for the match, with both exchanging slaps to raise the hype for the next hour, with the bulk of the top of the hour quarter seeing the payoff of the hour-long angle with Jericho and Christian in towels all over the building, with the Dudleys stealing their clothes in the ring, setting up the surprise of Spike coming from behind to take them out, with the segment peaking the night at a 3.7 rating with over 5 million viewers. In a similar viewing pattern to last Monday, with the show growing steadily until 10:15 p.m. before sharply dropping until the end of the show, Raw lost over 500,000 viewers following the peak audience for the Jericho Christian segment over the next 15 minutes for the following tag match, with the major hype for the Michaels-Van Dam main event continuing, with the company showing highlights from Michaels' last Raw match against Owen Hart on December 29, 1997. Coming at a time when the business was trending in the complete opposite direction compared to the cooling off of the past several months, with WCW setting another viewership record 24 hours after the Starrcade pay-per-view, and the WWF heating up by the week, including the Michaels-Owen match, which was hyped as the first Hart vs. Michaels match since Montreal and was saved for a heavily hyped final quarter, which included the official announcement of Mike Tyson being in negotiations to appear at WrestleMania 14. Driving a massive second hour, drawing the then highest rated and most watched hour on an opposed night in show history, peaking with over 4.4 million viewers, with Raw minutes before the main event featuring a Kane vs. Batista match, with Batista going over after Flair's interference in the highest profile win of his career to date, further cementing the company's plans for him as a future major player. After a week of major hype, both for it being the highly anticipated first time ever Van Dam vs. Michaels matchup combined with being Michaels' first TV match in 5 years, Van Dam and Michaels walked to the ring at 10:50 p.m. to kick off the match talked about since the peak of their WWF and ECW runs due to some of the similarities in their high-risk ring styles, going 9 minutes over the majority of the final quarter in front of a split crowd with dueling chants for both throughout, with the match with expectations for it to potentially pop a strong number, not matching the week of hype in front of the TV audience to draw a show low 3.2 rating with 4.4 million viewers, in the process also creating a unique coincidental situation with Michaels' last two matches on Raw against Owen in December 97 and Van Dam in November 2002, with the entire peak period that at its height routinely reached the 10 to 11 million viewers range in the middle, drawing an almost identical audience, with both matches totaling 4.4 million viewers, with Van Dam vs. Michaels, despite the much slower than expected start, at least picking up viewers for the duration of it to peak with 5 million viewers in the 3-minute overrun, ending up with Van Dam having the match won to set up Triple H's return in his first TV appearance since the injury at Survivor Series, closing Raw after the past 2 weeks of extreme viewing patterns, going from a 5-year low to a 3-month high audience back to more routine numbers with 4.6 million viewers right at the recent average.